What is up, guys? In this video I'll be showing you guys how to remove the dust shield on your G35 and 350Z. So if you guys see my last video, I did a Brembo swap or upgrade on my 350, and when you're doing a brake upgrade, whether it's Brembo, Akebono or Endless, either way you're gonna the disc is gonna be bigger on the rear one, so your factory dust shield is not going to fit and that is why you want to go with a bigger dust shield. There's a couple of options you can do. You can cut it, you can try to cut slots off it and then bend it. I don't like any of those ideas because it ends up creating like a very sharp edge on the dust shield that can end up cutting yourself, and also it's just not clean, right? So that is why I am swapping out my non-Brembo one for the Brembo one. I've tried to do research on the internet, but it seems like there's no information about, you know, how to swap out your dust shield, because I don't think anyone cares. Ends up people just cutting them, but I do. I want to have a complete setup, so that is why I'm making this video and showing you guys how to remove the dust shield or swap the dust shield. And without further ado, you want to jack up your car and let's get into the video. So basically, to get to the dust shield, you need to take the wheel off, take the brake caliper off, the rotor off, the CV axle off, the wheel bearing off, the handbrake off. There are a bunch of stuff you need to remove, but I have made a video on how to swap or how to replace your rear wheel bearing, which a lot of the initial step will be the same in that video, but again I'll show you guys how to do it. So I'll put you guys on a time lapse and then so basically undid the caliper bolt and rested the caliper up there and taken the disc off, undid the little safety pin for the axle nut, and basically what I found the best way is just to grab a plier, shove it in there and hammer the plier, and then this pin will be forced out. Undid the 32mm axle nut just with the impact gun, and then now I'm gonna get under the car and just undo these 6 axle nut and bolt, 6 all around. Undo this, pop this off, and then this whole axle will slide back that way and come out of there. And then after this I will have access to 4 wheel bearing bolts right behind the CV axle, but without taking this out you can't reach there. Alright guys, I think because my car is lowered and I also got like aftermarket and link and stuff like that, sway bars, the axle is having a tough time coming out. It's sort of stuck there, but I don't want to bother taking any more parts off, and I can already reach what I need to reach, which is these 4 bolts. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take off these 4 bolts and actually support this end of the axle, probably tied to the sway bar or something, so it's not giving a lot of tension on this boot, and I don't want to rip it. So that works out okay. And so for now, actually I'm just gonna remove these 4 wheel bearing bolts, which are 17 I believe. And just like that, once these 4 bolts are removed, you can see my wheel bearing is pretty new, so it's not going to be seized, but it basically just folds out like that. But in some case that edge of your wheel bearing might be seized on there, so you might have to hammer a bit, but I recommend just hammer it from the top so you don't damage your wheel bearing. So pretty much hammer from the top to create like a little gap, and then yeah, eventually your wheel bearing will come off. And so far it's basically the same as replacing a wheel bearing, but from this point onwards it's gonna be different. So you can see this drum handbrake assembly, so this part we need to remove, and also there are 4 or actually 2 bolts on the rear right here. these two that need to be removed as well. You don't need to remove this bolt that is holding the handbrake cable, because you can basically disassemble it up here. So yeah, basically now I'm just gonna remove the handbrake assembly, which you can see there is a tightening mechanism right here, and two little spring holding thing, like holding the whole drum, so the drum brake in there tight. So you want to get like a flathead screwdriver and push it in and twist it and release that, and pretty much that thing would pop out like a little pin thing, and I'll show you guys in a sec. And just like that, once that part of the spring is removed, basically the spring was like that, and what I did is I just hammered a screwdriver in there. You can see the marks, and then that sort of like bring the hooks out, because otherwise if you grab it, it's like too much tension, it's pretty hard. And then I'm just gonna sort of push in and twist. You can see that part sort of release out into something like that. And basically you have the top spring as well, which, yeah, I really should take it off as well. And basically this brake shoe will fall off. Same goes on the other side, and that piece will come off as well. And just like that, you can see I didn't actually take that spring out. The whole assembly is off. Just sort of spread them apart at the bottom over that little, you know, locking mechanism. And then you pull this out like that, and then there will be a little pin right here which will drop. Sorry, I'll get some better lighting. So yeah, like that pin will drop, and make sure you don't lose that, and you pull this part out, and basically then this handbrake shoe is like free, and you can take the whole lot off. And obviously that's after removing the tube nut behind the dust shield. And yeah, basically here is how you get to the dust shield. And then I'm gonna clean up a bunch of stuff like the meeting surface and stuff like that, and then I'm gonna put on the new dust shield. And you can see like how much bigger the new dust shield is. So yeah, pretty easy. And then basically what I did is I just sort of cleaned the surface and make sure it's flat, and also this dust shield, the backing surface as well, so make sure it's a pretty much a very flat surface. And just like that, now it's back on there. So I've just got two bearing bolts sort of holding it in place, and then you can put this little piece back on there, which is holding the dust shield, and put this little two nut back on there from the back, which I'll show you guys where it is. So you sort of just put the nut back on there, and same as the other one, and tighten that down, and then basically the dust shield will be in there, like won't be moving, it'll be in there tight. And after that, reverse the step of putting the handbrake on there, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like. And also after I've done that, I'll also show you guys all the torque spec for all the bearing bolts, axle nut, axle bolts, two little nut right here, the brake caliper, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, you can see the handbrake assembly, the wheel bearings still all back together. Now for the anchor block, which is, I've got a little thing right here, which is that thing. Bolts is 78.5 to 98 Newton meters, and for the axle nut 206 to 274, and for the wheel bearing it is 75 to 94, and all of these are Newton meters. Alright guys, so the disc is back on there. You guys can see make sure once you're taking the handbrake off, make sure you adjust it. And there's a little thing here, but once you have the disc off, you can easily adjust that thing up and down. And make sure when your handbrake is down, you can spin the disc and then go back into the car, pull up the handbrake, one click. If you can't move it, that's the perfect spot you want it. And basically this is how you replace the dust shield, or remove the dust shield. Hopefully this video helped you guys out, and this is, I think, by far the only video on the internet showing you just solely on the dust shield. I hope you guys find this helpful, and if you have any question, feel free to leave it down in the comment section below. And you guys know the deal: like, share, comment, subscribe, and without further ado, I'll see you guys in the next video.